live.
Good evening and welcome to the opening round of the Radical SR8 Championship. We're at the Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst, Australia. I'm Tom Cairns in the commentary position. Alongside me is Jim Cunningham, who will be with me for the next hour and a half or so. We've just reached the end of qualifying. James Barry has taken the first championship point. He's on pole for the first of three races, the first being 15 minutes, the second being 20, and the third being 25. The cars are coming straight onto the grid, raring to go. We'll quickly introduce Jim. How are you, sir?
Doing great, man. It's good to be here. Good to be working with you. We've had a little chat before we got going here, and yeah, it's. I think we're gonna have some fun. This is definitely a great series. One of my favorite tracks. Should be a lot of fun.
Yep. And we've got a lot of fast drivers in the field raring to go. John Hodgson looking to defend his crown. He won out by 61 points last season over Luke Maxwell, and Declan Marsden looking to defend his crown in the AMS going into this season. Whether they'll be pro or an AM, that'll be decided after the opening two rounds of the season, so we'll find out in a couple of weeks who will be in whichever class. We're just waiting for John Hudson and Mike Buson to make their way onto the grid, and once they do so, we'll go racing for the first time in Season 4 of the Radical SR8 Championship here in Mount Panorama. And we are ready to go, so if you can remove the graphic, Jim, we can get to the lights. And we are raring to go. 1 light, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lights are on. Lights are off. It's go in Mount Panorama. James Barry get a good getaway ahead of Luke Maxwell. Luke Maxwell got a better start going into Hell Corner. And it's Maxwell into the lead. But Barry's going to have the benefit of the tow as they come onto the back straight. One of the back straights of the circuit. It's the mountain straight as they're coming onto. It's an undulating part of the circuit before they head to the right-hander of Quali. And Maxwell takes the early lead. It's James Barry and Paul Crubb in second and third places respectively. Paul LeMay and John Hudson keeping up with the trio. And it's Mike Buson, Josh Reed, and to the field just filtering their way through. But a good start, Jim, from Luke Maxwell from second place straight into the lead by turn 1.
He did. Getting a jump on Barry, like that is not easy to do. So yeah, he did a great job there.
Super job indeed as they make the way through towards McPhillamy Park, and Maxwell will just hold on for the time being. The drivers just need to make sure that they settle into the race. Now, they've done some laps of practice and qualifying before this first race. 15 minutes it will be. There are 3 races, first being 15, second being 20, and the third being 25. The race 2 grid will be determined by the race 1 result, except that the top 5 will be reversed. And the same for race 3, except that the top 10 will be reversed for that from the race 2 result. But Luke Maxwell doing a fine job so far, retaining his advantage over James Barry. The race 1 grid being determined by the qualifying results. James Barry took the first point for pole position. He'll be hoping to improve on that in this particular race. And there are different point systems for the heats as they come around to complete the first lap with Maxwell in the lead. 20 points for the race winner, 15 for second, and it's 1 point difference between each position downwards, all the way down to 16th position. That would get 1 championship point there. As far as I'm concerned with Heat 2, it is the same point system as Heat 1. And then the final race, Heat 3, the third race, it is 25 points for the race winner, and it's 20 for second, and it's 1 point difference for each and every position downwards. Right all the way down to 21st place. But given that we've only got 18 drivers running, or 18 drivers competing, if you finish, you will score points very much. As we've got already a car in the pits, that will be Nick Marshall, who's already in for the Wolfpack Racing team. So he's picked up some damage on the first lap, and that's his race effectively done. I think he can actually keep going, actually get to the end. You never know, there could be some misfortunes from others along the way between now and the end of the 15-minute event. Expecting to be 8 laps, judging by the lap times we saw. It was a 1 minute 58 for Paul, and they are setting lap times around that range, so we expect to be an 8-lap race, Jim, for race 1.
Glad you're doing that math and not me. I'm sitting here trying to find what happened to Nicholas Marshall. I see nothing that mentions him at all. I wonder, so I don't know that he had a crash. If he did, the system didn't pick it up. He's back out of the pits now. I wonder if he pulled in to maybe fix a technical issue he was having on his end or something, with equipment. I don't know.
it could well be the case, but we'll look at James Barry, who is waiting patiently behind Luke Maxwell. It must feel like an eternity for when you're just going through the winding sections before you go onto the Conrod Straight. And this is James Barry looking to the outside, heading towards the kink before the chase. And James Barry should be able to have the high ground on the exit of this particular part of the course.
No.
Luke Maxwell and James Barry needs to be careful not to come out into the path of Paul Crabb, but unfortunately he's collected him, and another driver, he's taken out 3, Jim.
Yeah, he got Paul Crabb, clipped him, and then somebody else got in there too. I'm not sure who that was.
We'll take a look at that. We'll get a replay of what exactly going on. That's allowed John Hudson to go back into, well, go up into second place. Just posted a new fast lap of the race. But Luke Maxwell was very lucky not to be tipped round there. Otherwise, that would have been John Hudson going straight into the lead.
Well, we had all kinds of other stuff going on right before that elsewhere on the track, but we're going to go back and look at this first. All right, yeah, let's look at it from the chopper view and see what this looks like. So he just ran a little wide there, it looks like, and
well, yeah, I think he tried to go for a back, but it's just the fact that Luke Maxwell shut the door and James Barry just couldn't quite react to it in time. Paul Crabb got tapped, and yeah, and more cars just piled in behind. I think Ben Underdown got involved in it, as well as Stefan Mellis. He also got affected by that, so that's all 3 of them into the pit lane here. That's such a shame for Paul Crabb. No fault of his own as well. Go on, Jim.
I think Mellis actually was involved in an earlier incident right before, literally right before that. Like, this is what happened to Mellis coming through the mountain here, it looks like.
So he's heading downhill there. This is towards the elbow, I think. Forest elbow. Yeah, he got put into the wall there. I don't know who he collided with, but someone else also spun in avoidance. Nearly
270 something.
Yeah, so it's Josiah Douglas. Yeah,
Douglas. Yeah,
it's Josiah Douglas, I think that's pronounced. But yeah, he spun round at that. Ben Underdown also involved in. Stefan Millis with the front bumper gone from his car. He headed for the pits for repairs, and yeah, so it's certainly shaken up the order through all that. And Luke Maxwell, well, he's not home and dry by any means, because John Hudson, we know how quick he is in this particular machine, the Radical SR8s. And, well, I think it's a matter of time before he gets back through, goes through on Maxwell, because we know how quick Hudson is, judging by his performances last season.
Well, I'll tell you what, Maxwell's fast too, though. When I was covering this series a couple seasons ago, he couldn't show up every week. He had some work issues or whatever. But when he showed up, he was always right there. Always. And that was against the likes of James Barry and of course Paul LeMay and McCutcheon. So he's fast. He could. It wouldn't surprise me at all, based on my knowledge of him, that he won a heat or won the overall or anything. He was fast.
Very fast indeed, and I love watching John race. I mean, we saw some battling with him and James Barry over the course of the last few seasons. It's sensational watching those two fighting it out, but they'll have to wait for another race before we see that happening, because James Barry is out of the race. No points for him from heat number 1, and not the best start to his campaign.
Now, if he gets back on track, though, if he got back on track, he, in theory, could potentially pick up a point or two if somebody else wrecks, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. If he's thinking about the big, long picture championship thing, he may want to get back on the track and try to pick up every little point he can. Since it pays down to 16 spots. Oh, Michael LeMay had a little incident.
Yeah, I wonder if that's over at Forest Elbow, because the leaders have already gone by that, and they're on the Conrod Straight. Hudson not tempting to go for it just yet. Michael LeMay, this is over at McFinery Park. He's probably going to catch the curb on the outside. He does so, and can't correct the slide, and his race is effectively done.
Wow, yeah, that's brutal. And that's not normally a place you see someone struggle. It's usually right after that, when they go to try to take that chicane there. That's usually what causes people fits. I got to get a close-up of Luke Maxwell's car at some point in time. Trying to see what he's got on there for a paint scheme on the back. That looks kind of cool. I don't know what it is. Almost looks like anime, but he doesn't seem like the anime type.
well, looking through as they go through the right-hander of Quali. Murchison, he's just holding him up for the time being, so he's probably maybe going to wait until the last lap before he actually does go for it. Jamie Bird's gone through on even Bremer. I think it's because Bremer has found himself in the war. Well, I say he's gone in the wars. He's lost 2 positions. He's lost out to Mike Bousson, and there is Bousson, who's now ahead of Bremer. And we've got a really nice battle going on for 4th place between Josh Reed, Jamie Bird, Mike Bousson, Ewan Bremer, and soon to be Damien Gay. That was a clip of the wall, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Bird. Jamie Bird clipped the wall there. Yeah, this is a good battle right here. And all these guys, you know, we talk about all those guys that are the super fast aliens, you know. Every one of these guys right here in this battle are fast, too.
Coming down the hill they come, through the Dipper.
You know, I think Mount Panorama is one of those kind of circuits. Does it suit your style or not? You know what I mean? Like, some people love this place. Some people absolutely struggle here so bad.
Mm-hmm. On the Conrad Straight, or Conrad Straight, if I pronounce that correctly. I get confused between the pair of them. It's Conrad Straight that I was right first time. And now that's to the chase before the last corner of Murray's, where we do tend to see some action there, particularly on the last night where someone makes a dive bomb through it to snatch a position away, and we see John Hudson ahead of that battle for 4th position. 5 minutes to go, 3 laps remaining for Luke Maxwell. Is he going to take the first victory of the new season? John Hudson will be keeping up with him, as will Paul LeMay, who's doing a fine job in this race so far in that lovely colour scheme. Both he and Michael LeMay are sort of similar, but with different patterns a little bit.
Yeah, I think, well, I know their wheels are different. I think Michael runs yellow wheels. But let's talk about Paul LeMay for a second. You know, you mentioned him earlier as one of the, you know, the dark horse aliens in this. You know, we talked about those first 3 or 4 guys, and then, you know, you immediately went to Paul LeMay and said, you know, and you're right. He is he's super fast too, and he's maybe he's not a guy that you instantly refer to with those gentlemen that have won all these championships and stuff, but he's, as you can see, right there running with these guys. He is really fast, and like I told you earlier, he's a super nice guy. Like I was telling you that little story earlier about how he sent me a nice message, one of my very first races commentating. You know, how thoughtful that was.
Yeah, he is a nice man. I mean, James has done some interviews with him in the past when he's been on afterwards. He is a genuinely nice man when it comes to discussing about his races and life in general. And he seems to be enjoying the Radical SR8 machine, which I don't know if you've raced in these machines or have any. Yeah, they're brilliant to drive, aren't they?
Yeah, they're so much fun. I think the 8 drives better than the 10. You know, the 10's got all the horsepower and stuff, but these cars is just like the perfect balance. It's the right amount of power. They're just fun to drive. Yeah, it's just a great combo. I love them. I've never done that combo here, which I really now this makes me want to do it bad because this seems like a lot of fun. Oh my goodness, what in the world? That's McCutcheon and LeMay.
It's LeMay. They've come together though, so I wondered why we only saw Luke Maxwell going over the line, but it's because Matt Hudson and LeMay have come together on the exit of Murray's. Disaster for the pair of them. Great news for Luke Maxwell, but disappointment for both Matt Hudson and LeMay. We'll get a replay to find what happened. It was on the exit of the last corner. LeMay went to the inside. In fact, no. Matt Hudson went too deep.
Yep.
And, yeah, he was about to slide or spin round, and LeMay couldn't avoid him in time.
Yep. Wow, man. All the fast guys are taking themselves out. Holy cow. Wow, that's a tough break. Let's see.
Yeah, well, Paul LeMay has kept going. Interestingly, Matt Hudson, well, I think he's taking more of a brunt from that, and he is really struggling. Yeah, you can see he's not going through the corners as sweetly, and it's not just the front end that's taking damage. You can just see he's struggling to get through the corners. Well, even just trying to stay out the wall, really. The
look at his wheel. Oh
yeah,
my God!
I'll be amazed. I'll be amazed if he gets to the checker flag in that state.
Oh, it's literally 90 degrees to the side. Oh, he missed that whole chicane there. He's just trying to get to the pits, I think.
Yeah, he can't
Oh, there's
continue
no
around
way.
like that.
Yeah. To be honest, he's doing a heck of a job because
I mean, if
that
he just
steering wheel is jacked.
If we just ease off the accelerator and go through the corners, he may just about get to the end, but there's no way.
I don't think John McCutcheon knows what lift off the accelerator means. That guy's so fast. All right, let's see here. We had another issue. Geert, I can't say this guy's name at all. We're going to have to work on this. His first name's Geert. I got that part.
It's Geert Jan Polman.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
How I...
That's glad you're here.
Yeah, that's how I would pronounce it anyway. This is Geert van Polman, who was in a fight here. Who was that behind him? He was about, and the car behind hit the wall first.
Yeah.
And Jan Polman just slid into the barrier a little bit, but it was only a minor brush with the wall.
It was almost like he was watching his mirror, to see where the guy was or something. And poor Maxwell, yeah, he made it to the pits. Poor McCutcheon said he made it to the pits. See, Luke's up there. Just he's all his major competition has crashed behind him, and Bird is 7 seconds back. I'll tell you what, Bird's more worried about Josh Reed here. Look at this battle for 4 of them here.
For the final podium position in race 1, remember it's the top 5 that get reversed for race 2. So as it stands, it's Mike Bousson who is on course for that. But behind him is Damien Guy, who could well snatch reverse grid pole away from him if he can keep up with these. And you never know what could happen if we continue to have the shenanigans from what we're seeing with James Barry and, of course, with John Hudson and Paul LeMay. Who knows?
Well, we just hit the timer. This race flew by. I looked up and saw that we had hit the timer. I had no idea. So where is Luke at? He's heading
on the...
So this is going to be the checkered flag lap then.
Yeah, this will be the last lap for Luke Maxwell, the man who finished runner-up last season in the pros. He's going to open his points account with victory here. 20 championship points going in the way for him. They'll be delighted with that as well. Ivan Bremer might boost on swapping positions further back. But it's Luke Maxwell is going to take the first win of the Radical SR8 Championship convincingly at Mount Panorama. Well deserved for Luke Maxwell. Got the jump on James Barry at the start and never lost the lead from there. Over the line in second place is Jamie Bird, and it's Josh Reed in third place ahead of Evan Bremer, who's fourth. Mike Bousson holds on to fifth ahead of Damien Gee, so he will be on reverse grid pole. Paul LeMay gets over the line despite the front end damage to his machine, and it's Andrew Horswood in eighth. Anthony Hilton will be ninth, and it's Geert van Polman in 10th place, followed by Ben Underdown, Josiah Douglas, Stefan Mellis, Paul Crabb, and John Hudson will get to the end, and those will be the only finishes. Well, I say only finishes. Nick Marshall's got over the line in 16th place, and a lap down where we lost Michael LeMay and James Barry early on.
Man, look at the amount of fast guys that did not finish up front. It's crazy. I mean, again, nothing. Obviously, Luke's, nothing against Jamie or Josh Reed or Ewan Bremer or any of those, but just the amount of, for lack of a better term, I actually don't like the term alien, but everybody seems to use it. So, we should have results now, shouldn't we?
Well, we're waiting for Hudson to go over the line. So
we're still waiting on John, yeah.
Yeah, we're still waiting for John. He'll be 15th on the grid for race 2. So at least there's a chance for both him and James Barry to come through the field rather nicely. So we'll be in for a really... yeah, we're certainly going to be in for a very interesting race number 2. That's for absolutely sure.
Talk about reversing the grid. Two of the fastest guys in the field are going to be all the way in the back. Oh, they're already gridding, huh?
Yeah, so I don't think we'll be able to go through the results that time because it's straight.
Well, let's make sure. Let's go see the grid first, and we'll see what's going on.
Well, I know that Luke Maxwell won the race ahead of Jamie Bird in second place. Josh Reed third ahead of Evan Brenner in fourth. It's Mike Bousson in fifth and on reverse grid pole. Damien Gee was sixth ahead of Paul LeMay. Andrew Horswood eighth. Anthony Hilton, Geert Jan Polman, Ben Underdown, Josiah Douglas, Stefan Mellis, Paul Crabb, John Hudson, Nick Marshall, Michael LeMay, and James Barry. And well, we had the grid for the moment, but we know for certain it's Mike Boosson on reverse grid pole. It's Evan Bremer second. It's Josh Reed third, Jamie Bird fourth, and Luke Maxwell in fifth place ahead of Damien Gee on the third row. Next to him, then it's Paul LeMay and Andrew Horsewood, Anthony Hilton, Gert van Polman, Ben Underdown and Josiah Douglas on row 6, followed by Stephen Millis and Paul Crabb. Then it's John Hudson, Nick Marshall, Michael LeMay, and James Barry rounding off the grid. Waiting for Evan Bremer. Go on.
No, I was just saying, we give this real quick.
Well, we've got the lights on now, Jim, and we'll be ready to go for race 2. Lights are on, lights off, and it's go for race number 2. 20 minutes it will be this time around, and Mike Boosson has, he's got a super start, and he's already sprinting away from the likes of Josh Reed, Jamie Bird. But yeah, a huge gap already, and that's because Evan Bremer didn't even get going from second place. He's joined the race now from the pit lane, but that has handed an enormous advantage to Mike Boosson.
Well, that's what threw me off. I kept waiting for him to grid, and when he didn't grid, I was looking at that hole, thinking, we're not ready yet, and it went.
Josh Reed and Jamie Bird swapping positions as we speak. Have they got safely through the left-hander that they had just gone through there? That would have been the cutting that they've gone through. They've gone through Griffin's Mount and Reed Park, and it's Solomon Park, and it's McFinery Park, and they'll be heading back down through the likes of Skyline, the S's, the Dipper, and it's the left-hander Forest Elbow. So race order, it is Mike Boosson, Josh Reed, Jamie Bird, Luke Maxwell, Paul LeMay, Andrew Horsewood in 6th place, and it's Damien Gee, Gert van Polman, Anthony Hilton, and John Hudson inside the top 10.
Well, McCutcheon is already flying up. That's why I jumped back here to see where he was at. He's absolutely flying, and Barry's right behind him. Well, technically, he's a car back, but yeah, McCutcheon is just, oh man.
It's like knife through butter, isn't it?
Oh,
the way he's just carving through the field like that. Yeah.
It is. I mean, I can't help but put the camera on him. You just know he's just going to blow through here so fast.
As is James Barry. He was one of the non-finishers in race 1. He is now up to 11th place. Ahead of him is Anthony Hilton. You want to dispose of him very quickly. Will he go for it into Murray's?
Oh, look at Barry, man.
He thought about it.
He's kind of being held up back there by, I guess that's Hilton, yeah.
And behind him is Paul Crabb, of which he collided with in race 1.
Also another super fast one. Let's see what we're doing up front here. Yeah,
well, Luke Maxwell's just got into 3rd place ahead of Josh Reed.
That's what we need to. Let's pop back up here and see what's going on.
Dicing for position now as well. They keep swapping positions to Reed and Maxwell on the mountain straight through Quarry. They go, and Maxwell, he ran wide, and he's made contact as well. That's Andrew Horsewood, who has got his nose in front before they got to the cut-in, but it's Maxwell who have the inside line for that.
Yeah, that was close right there. I don't know that you want to do too much going through the mountain side by side.
It wouldn't have been...
In these cars, though, you probably could pull that off in these cars with 2 really skilled drivers, because these cars are not that wide, and they're not super fast, but I love them. They handle so good. They're so much fun to drive. I think that they ought to move this car and put it in more of the like rookie type series, and let guys drive these cars as an alternative to like the MX, the Mazda or something, or maybe a D car where they have series that replaces like the GR86. I think you could learn a lot by driving these cars.
I think you can as well, and you've got to learn how to handle them, especially when you're going through fast corners, medium speed corners, low speed corners.
The suspension doesn't flex like it does on the Mazda and on the GR86. The GR86 has so much body roll to it, and as you move up right away from those cars, you lose that. The Porsche Cup cars and the GT3s and things like that don't have that kind of roll in the suspension. So this is just a better car, for that.
You see him move that.
They are all over Mike Boosson up here.
Well, Boosson's gap has come down drastically since the last we saw from him. Jamie Bird all over the back of him, as are Josh Reed and Paul LeMay. Paul LeMay with the fast up of the race so far. But can keep up with these guys. And looking at the number of laps we are potentially going to have, we could possibly have 11 if they get over the line before the 20-minute mark.
It always amazes me how y'all do that math so fast. It doesn't it doesn't work for me like that. Please tell me that you're doing it. Don't tell me you're using a calculator or something.
It's just working out via the lap times. That's just how I work it out. If you look at the, let's just use 150. Yeah, so if you times that,
playing more than anything else, but it does impress me because I would have to stop it and I couldn't talk and do it at the same time. I think we had a little incident here with Nick Marshall. Oh.
Yeah, he was already losing it before he even touched the curb.
And then also from, oh, glad I stayed with him there. And then Josiah Douglas as well. Oh, this is not going to be good. This is a bad spot.
It's at Forest Elbow. And it's not the first time he's spun there either.
No. He actually didn't hit anything, though. He did a pretty good job there, really.
We've got a change for the lead, and it's because Jamie Bird is alongside Mike Bousson. He's thrown himself into the lead, but for how long? Because he's got the outside line is Bird. Bousson stays with him, gets the car slowed down just about, but now it's Josh Reed who takes the position as Bousson goes wide onto the grass. He's got the inside line momentarily for Murray's, but he has to tuck in behind Reed. It's all kicking from Paul LeMay and sends Bousson round. That is a really body blow there for Bousson after being in the lead at the beginning. And now he's got catch up to do in the remaining laps of this.
Yeah, that's man. I don't know. My initial thoughts there were that LeMay spun him, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't really on LeMay. You know, Bousson came back on the track and clearly had to gather it up. And I don't. Let's see.
So this is a replay of Bousson. This is into Murray's corner, so he knows he's not going to have the high ground into it. And yeah, he was already spinning before LeMay even touched him.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So that was not LeMay. Actually, Paul LeMay did a good job of avoiding hitting him, really. Wrecking him hard.
There's Josh Reed up to second place. Coming out of the left-hander. A couple of left-handers before Funerary Park. This is a tricky part of the course, in my opinion, because if you touch that curb on the outside too much and you spin round, it's potential chaos. I've seen it in another racing game itself. I think it was on ACC. And if you spun round, hit the barrier so hard right in the middle of the pack, it's pandemonium.
Yeah, well, and one of the worst things about any spin on the mountain road is, especially in like I said, these are not that big of cars, but you can't really turn the car around. And so you got to kind of back up and go forward. Well, people try to do that, and there's traffic coming through there. It's horrible.
It's not nice whatsoever.
No, I saw a guy. He tried to back down the mountain from there, and of course they disqualified him. But because he couldn't spin the car around, so he tried to back down to get to a point where he could turn it around.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah, it's a nightmare. That's the algorithm for you.
Yeah, well, it DQ'd him for sure. So,
well, Bird is in the lead for the time being. Josh Reed second, and Paul LeMay is now under attack from Luke Maxwell, who was the race 1 winner. Can you make it 2 from 2?
He hasn't really moved up a ton. I mean, he started in 5th, and he hasn't really gained a lot of spots. But now, if we jump back a little bit further, these two are coming like a rocket ship.
Yep, and the next man to overtake before they get onto Maxwell is Andrew Horswood. And Barry all over the back of Matt Hudson, so it'll be a matter of time before these two actually have their inevitable squabble. I mean, it would have been... If you said to me there wouldn't be a battle between these two, I'd have said to you, just go.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely inevitable with seeing Matt Hudson and Barry go toe-to-toe in this championship. It's brilliant to see, and I'm absolutely loving it. He just saw a little bit of sparks before they got to the S's there.
I don't know.
From Hudson.
I think that might have been the front splitter on the car hitting the ground. I don't think he scuffed the wall. I think that was more the splitter, because there's a lot of compression right in that area, and the car set down on its suspension a little bit. I think that's what happened there. I tell you what, Paul Crabb right here. It's been a couple seasons. I love that paint scheme, by the way. I'll tell you a story about that paint scheme later. But Paul Crabb, when I watched this series before, did not seem as quick as he is now. When I did this series a few years ago, it would appear to me that he has really improved. We'll see as the season goes on as we do some of these races, but he seems to have gotten a little faster, which been a couple seasons. So
I've seen him win some sprints before via the reverse grid of Paul Crabb. So he is not a bad driver by any means. Whilst you were talking, Hudson got by Andrew Horsewood at the chase, and James Barry's done the same thing on the exit of Murray's, and he's now into 6th position. Is Barry. Paul Crabb will be on the tail of Horsewood momentarily. He is right behind him, actually. Barry will want to go up.
They get a little harder to pass from here on up, though.
They do get harder, yeah. Hudson will know that too well, especially with Luke Maxwell in the way. Reed and LeMay are continuing to swap positions on the timing tower, and that's probably because they've been side by side. But now this is a really intense battle we are seeing. 5 cars within a couple of seconds. What could possibly go wrong in the Radical SR8 Championship?
On the mountain at Bathurst. Like, for me, though, this turn right here is the toughest part of the course for me. That little chicane going into the bottom of the mountain right there. I struggle with that one every time. That's my toughest corner. It is a nightmare, especially with the undulation involved. It can really knock the car off kilter, and you just lose all the momentum, especially when you just clip the wall on the inside or something like that. But now we've got Hudson in the slipstream of Maxwell. Is this going to end well, or is it going to end up being a possible coming together like what we've seen earlier on in the race? There goes Hudson on Maxwell. Josh Reed thought about going for it on Bird, but sticks behind him for now. Hudson to the outside momentarily. Maxwell shuts the door that time around. No coming together this time around. And Hudson still fighting, just trying to put Maxwell off a little bit and trying to make him cover the inside so they can get an advantage on the exit and pull alongside before they get to Hell's Corner, which he's doing now. Hudson on the inside of Maxwell. Does he go through into 4th place? Maxwell leaves the door open for Hudson to go through, and that was all inevitable. As soon as Maxwell left him that amount of space, Hudson said thank you very much. Yeah, McCutcheon set that up. I mean, he was, as soon as he made that turn there, he slid over to the inside, and there wasn't anything Luke could do about that. Look at Barry coming through there too, though.
Yep, Barry through ahead of Maxwell.
Luke's getting freight trained here.
Yeah, Maxwell's struggling a little bit now. He's lost the position to Hudson, and he's lost another one to Barry. I don't know whether he's allowing these two to just simply go up the road and go after the leaders, because otherwise if he started battling with Barry and Hudson, he'll have lost crucial ground to the top 5, or the top 3 as it is. But now, it's game on for the win here.
Oh, absolutely. It's, what have we got? We're at 7 minutes to go here. I was trying to see if Horsewood was going to try to pull a move on him too, because clearly Maxwell got out of his rhythm there as those two went by him. And sometimes you can take advantage of that if you're right behind them, and maybe not even quite as quick of a driver, but just take advantage of them losing their rhythm like that. But he seems to be back in the flow now. Let's go back up here and see what's happening with these guys.
Josh Reed around the.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Josh Reed around the outside of Jamie Bird as they come towards the chase. This is the kink of the Conrad Straight, and there goes Reed. Is he in front before they get to the corner? He is, and Bird has to yield that time around. And what we'll say as well is 3 seconds separating the top 8 by the stage of the race.
Yeah, that was a nice move by Josh Reed right there. He just drove it in there and outbraked him.
Hudson and Barry going toe-to-toe as well, Jim, further behind in the battle for 4th place. But Hudson held on for now, but Barry was to the outside of him before they got to Murray's. But Hudson was able to hold on this time around further back. We just see Andrew Horsewood holding on, or not for long, because Maxwell's ahead of him. But now it's Paul Crabb who is behind Horsewood. And it's very much all beginning to take shape here with what I think will be 4 laps to go, but it may well be 3, depending on how quick they get round over the line.
Yeah, these 3 up here. And we hadn't said a word about Paul LeMay in all of this, and he's just right there. You know,
just as he was in race 1.
If I'm not mistaken, Paul has an arm issue or something. I don't exactly know the details, but I know he has a problem that his arm really bothers him in tough races and stuff like that. I think it's like a chronic type injury, so it's been going on for a while. But I would imagine this has got to be a tough course for him because this place is brutal to drive.
I don't know how this section is something of which you just absolutely nailed. So there goes LeMay. Oh, he gave Bird a fight. There was contact. There was definitely contact between LeMay and Bird, but they just survive.
Bird,
but that was very marginal
too, coming out of there. Yeah, you see the sparks coming off the cars in front. That's their splitters hitting the ground, I'm pretty sure.
There is Reed.
Whoops.
And we're now on board with Hudson momentarily. He's got Barry behind. Barry not going for it towards the chase. And Josh Reed, well, that's just a connection issue, so just ignore that for now. There we see Hudson in 4th position. LeMay to the outside of Bird going into Murray's. Bird holds on for now, but can LeMay do the switchback on the exit? Not that time.
See, the thing is,
Josh Reed.
LeMay can't, throwing those fake moves like that to try to throw Bird off. He's with McCutcheon and Barry behind him. He's going to get caught out doing that, and they're going to blow right by him. He's going to have to
absolutely
start driving a little defensively now,
All within the slipstream of each other. It's crazy how they can just go through Quarry Bend almost at the same time. Hudson to the outside of LeMay. They won't have the inside line for the cutting, so there's no way he's going to pull this one off. So he settles in behind, and sensibly so. But it's interesting that Maxwell, Horsewood, and Crab have been able to keep up with this lot.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think that Reed is kind of, and again, nothing against Reed, but I think this whole pack is kind of not reaching their full lap time potential here. They're all kind of battling each other and defensively driving, and that is possibly allowing that second group to somewhat keep up. But yeah, it's incredible. We literally have what, 8
Less
cars.
than 3 minutes.
Yeah, 8 cars. That's in about 2.5 seconds.
Coming down from the 3 seconds that I mentioned earlier, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's anyone's for the win in race 2 at Mount Panorama. Josh Reed is your leader, but will he remain as the leader as they come round? We'll get a white flag if there is one. Does he go through on LeMay? There is contact. Yeah. LeMay gets pushed down to the curb. Barry nearly goes off onto the grass there. There was a little bit of contact there from James Barry. LeMay will have the inside line for Murray's. It's a spin. It's Reed. It's Reed. It's Josh Reed, the race leader, who's spun at Murray's corner.
Oh my goodness. We'll go back and... I don't want to leave this yet, but...
No, well, Jamie Bird is in the lead now, ahead of John Hudson, who could well complete a back-of-the-grid drive to the win here.
How much time do we have left? They're not going to make another lap, I don't think.
Well, they just did 158s and 9s. It's going to be touch and go. It's going to be touch and go whether it's going to be... Yeah, I think that's the annoying thing with...
I hope we get this one and one more. I really do. Yeah. Let's go back and look at Josh's crash and see what happened real quick.
I think he's probably gone too deep. He's so far in front of Jamie Bird. I think he just locked up and just carried too much speed into the last turn.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Ooh. Just got too greedy.
Man.
Turning in there. I think he just...
there's so much pressure there, man. And, you sit and look back and look at these names that are looming right behind you. What in the world happened to Paul Crabb? Nothing.
Well, Crabb's down the order.
He must have just crashed or crossed over the pit entry line or something. because it showed him entering the pits, but he didn't.
Well, that'll be maybe a connection issue or something for Paul Crabb. But he survives for now, but they are coming round. I think there'll be one more lap here, Jim.
So.
As we, it will be. I'm just looking at the amount of time we've got left. So there is Mahudson. Mahudson will be happy that there will be one more lap because he's right on the tail of Jamie Bird. As they come around to Murray's corner, we've got 10 seconds to go here. Will they get over the line before the checker flag? Yeah, they'll be over the line before the 20-minute mark. So as they head over the line now, we've got about 1 second to go. 1 second to go.
We need another lap in this one, though. We really do. Oh, there's a Horsewood off back there. Where's Barry? Barry's right there. Barry's still behind LeMay. Yeah. This is what a run.
I never thought I'd be saying this, but Andrew Horsewood could well win this race if this goes completely in a direction that we never thought it would do. Then Horsewood could end up winning this one.
I would agree with you, with the exception of every one of these guys is up front up here is so good, so skilled, that I doubt very seriously that they're going to wreck all four of them. You know what I mean? Like I just, in a lot of situations, I would totally agree with you. Somebody's going to make a crazy move and wreck the entire front four like that, but just not with these guys. I don't see that happening.
Well, we saw what happened in the first race.
Well, that's true.
Where we saw, two separate incidents as well, bearing in mind. But you see Hudson, who's right on the rear of Jamie Bird, making up for what happened there.
Oh my God! That was his hood going flying. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and that's allowed Hudson into the lead, but we've seen Barry go toe-to-toe with Paul LeMay. Can they keep it clean all the way through? LeMay is into the slipstream of Mahudson as they come towards the chase now. Is Paul LeMay able to snatch victory away from John Mahudson, or is James Barry right there to pick up the pieces? Barry to the outside, LeMay to the inside, Mahudson in the middle. Hudson holds on for the time being, but James Barry is on the rear of him. Does he send up the inside into the last turn of Murray's? James Barry to the outside of John Hudson. He may be able to do a switchback. Then it'll be a sprint to the line. John Hudson, I think, will hold on. John Hudson wins the second race at Mount Panorama. He wins ahead of James Barry by a 10th of a second, with Paul LeMay third, Andrew Horsewood in fourth place. It's Luke Maxwell fifth, Josh Reed sixth, and it will be Paul Crabb seventh, Gert van Polman in eighth, Damien Guy in ninth, and Stefan Millis 10th. And on reverse grid pole for race 3, with Ben Underdown, Michael LeMay, Anthony Hilton, Jamie Bird gets over the line in 15th place, ahead of Ewan Bremer, who's 16th, and it's Josiah Douglas and Nick Marshall. But this is the moment that cost Jamie Bird race victory.
Oh, trees. Come on.
Probably be best to get a rear wing on board of Jamie Bird.
Let's see what this does.
Here we see a replay. There is Bird. This is over at Forest Elbow where he dropped it. And that is basically because of the amount of pressure he was under.
Absolutely. He drove it just a little past the edge coming through there. And that is so easy to do, especially with that group of guys behind you. Holy cow. Wow. All right.
Well, that's race over.
All right, we got
everyone has got over the line. Maybe? Yep. So John Hudson takes victory ahead of James Barry. Paul LeMay third, followed by Andrew Horsewood. Luke Maxwell is in 5th place, followed by Josh Reeve. Paul Crabb 7th, Gert van Polman 8th, Damien Guy 9th, and Stefan Millis in 10th and on reverse grid pole. Mike Booth on 11th, followed by Ben Underdown. And it's Michael LeMay in 13th, followed by Anthony Hilton. Ewan Bremer showing he's ahead of Jamie Bird. He could well be. Josiah Douglas and Nick Marshall, the rest of those two finished. So all 18 drivers make it to the checkerfied this time. Stefan Millis on reverse grid pole. And alongside him...
Well, the good news is you can catch your breath. They have a warm-up period here, apparently.
Yes. So let's use this opportunity, Jim, to go through the schedule for this season. Because so we've got 10 rounds of this championship. We're at Mount Panorama tonight in Bathurst. Next week we go to the boot configuration of Watkins Glen in New York. Then it's off to Lebanon in France, Knockhill in Scotland, a venue which I'm hoping to go to this year for British Touring
I
Cars.
don't know Knock Hill. I've never driven Knock Hill.
It's a good circuit. I'll let you check it out in your own time. Sebring International for round 5, followed by Thruxton, another circuit that I'm due to go to next month. The alternate configuration of Zolder, and it's Otter Road America for round 8 on the 7th of July. The bike layout of Spa-Francorchamps, in case you want to know what that bike layout is, it's basically on the exit where it's Bruxelles, and it's the left-hander of turn 9 before you go to Pouron. There is a alternate left-hander that the bikes
cool
use compared to.
Too. It's like a little mini version of the what do they call it at Laguna Seca, the corkscrew. It's almost like a little mini version of the corkscrew. It kind of dips down as you turn. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
And then
last round of the season,
the historic layout at Monza.
Yes, the historic layout of Monza. They'll be using so much fun on the bankings, something which Formula 1 used to race on in the 1950s and that. But it is the historic version of Monza which the Radicals will be using. The season concluding on the 21st of July. So there's no week breaks or anything like that in that period. It's one every week until the 21st of July.
Yeah, that historic Monza is so much fun. I've covered a couple of races there, and they were fantastic. But what I heard is that this league did an off week race, or in between season race or something like that, a fun run, whatever you want to call it, there, and it was absolutely the most fun those guys ever had. They said it was such a blast, and I believe it. I covered a GT3 race there, and it was actually it was maybe a full IMSA style, all 3 classes, but it was so much fun on that. And I thought that the old banking was going to be like troublesome. That was where the problems were going to come in, but it didn't cause that at all. It was you had guys down on the flat part pass, and it was fantastic.
It's wonderful that we're racing over at the historic circuit of Monza. Very much looking forward to it. And Knockhill is an undulating circuit as well, over in the area of Fife, I believe it is. I think it's over in the area of Dunfermline. Fife is the sort of county part of Scotland, and Dunfermline is the more specific location of where Knockhill is at. But British touring cars do race there every year, and I'm hoping to go there in August when it is being held. But it is quite a trek, as we all say in the UK. It's quite a fun. It's quite a long way up. It's like in the middle of nowhere is Knockhill, in all honesty.
All right, so here I'm gonna give you my story now about this paint scheme while I happen to click on it and see it. So my first sports car race that I ever attended was the 12 Hours of Sebring. And it was, I don't exactly remember the year now, but let's just say it was many, many moons before you were born. It was probably like 89, 90, maybe 91, something like that. And it was when it was the year that Jaguar had debuted this paint scheme with their new GTP cars, and they were dominating, and they had Martin Brundle was one of their drivers, and of course he had just come over from Formula One, so he was really fast. And for the 12 hours, they had like 4 cars that they were running in this paint scheme, and they had brought in all these hot shoe drivers from different, type, like Indy cars and Formula One, and there was just all kinds of guys there. And I went with a guy who was, whoa, that was fun. Oh,
it's the end of the warm-up session.
Yep. So let's go to the grid. But anyway, so that was my first experience. And it was a ton of fun.
Let's run down the grid for the final race of tonight. Stefan Millis on reverse grid pole, and it's Damien Guy. Gert van Polman in third, ahead of Paul Crabb and Josh Reed. Luke Maxwell in 6th place, followed by Andrew Horswood and Paul LeMay on the 4th row. James Barry and John Hudson inside the top 10, followed by Mike Bousson, Ben Underdown, Michael LeMay and Anthony Hilton on row 7, followed by Evan Bremer and Jamie Bird. Josiah Douglas and Nick Marshall round out the grid for race 3. And waiting for Hudson and Underdown to get onto the grid. It's just Underdown we're waiting on now, and then we'll be going racing. The fire lights are coming on now, and when they go out, we'll be racing one last time. 3, 4, and 5. Lights on. Lights off. Mellis away off the line ahead of Guy. Guy does not make too much of an impression as Gert van Polman sends one to the inside, and he's doing to second place already. And the Hilsman Racing driver is making inroads as he tucks into the slipstream of Stefan Mellis, who takes the early lead ahead of Polman in second place. Crab is also in front of Damien Guy on the mountain straight. Luke Maxwell, Josh Reed are next, followed by Andrew Horswood and Josh Reed. And then we see Polman to the outside into Quali, and that's going to hand the advantage over to Paul Crab, who saw the gap and went for it.
Yeah, Paulman there ran a little wide. I think he sent it just a little too hard in there trying to get past Stefan Mellis.
Up the hill they come. Griffin Bend it is, they head through. And it's a sequence of left-handers before they get to McFlurry Park. And then the track just goes downhill. And this has been a very tricky part of the course for some of the drivers. Stefan Mellis hoping to hold on. Paul Crab in second place already. He deserves a victory after his performance in race 2. And we've just seen Josh Rigo in front of Paul May and John Hudson. And they are settling into a rhythm already. And there is Paul Crab, who's already behind Stefan Mellis. He knows he's a quicker driver compared to Mellis. Mellis was one of those competing in the AM class last season. And whereas Paul Crab is one of the more pro drivers. And so it should be easy picking here for Paul Crab on the Conrad Straight. And that is him through into the lead before they even get to the chase. To the inside goes Crab. Mellis still has his nose in front. But Crab should have the inside line. There was a touch. And Crab just about gets his way into the lead before the lap is out.
Well, let's see. We had a little bit of business going on back here. Let's see what happened.
And Josiah Douglas has not had the best of evenings.
No, he hasn't.
Over the course of tonight. No, he's been in the wars too many times. Car itself lost connection. Don't know who it was.
Yeah,
it might have been. Is that Nick Marshall who had that problem?
I think that really probably did, cause him to overreact. I tell you what, there's nothing worse than following a blinking car. You just don't know whether it just makes you get all jittery, and you don't know where they're going to pop back up, and it's a mess.
Paul Crab with the early advantage.
Oh, I knew that was coming. That's why I switched cameras.
That's Maxwell and Mellis coming together. Mellis pointing the wrong way. We'll get a replay of that. That was Maxwell running into Mellis entering the cut-in.
Yeah,
and
that's
not.
That was bad. I think Mellis might have even kind of been trying to get out of his way. I don't know. Let's see. It's a tough track to do the chopper cam. Oh, no. He just ran him over.
Yeah, he came too close, did Maxwell. That's what it was. And I'm amazed that Mellis didn't collect anyone else.
Yeah, he stayed in the right spot, and he held his brakes, so that was extremely important there. But, yeah, unfortunate. He had a chance to run up front there for a little bit, and that ended up not working out too well for him. Let's see. Let's see how our guys are back here. Look at James Barry and Paul May back here.
And also Josh Reed. He's making a move on Damien Guy further up ahead. But this is James Barry going through on Paul LeMay. Side by side they go before the chase. Barry will have his nose in front this time around, going through. And Guy's been overtaken by Matt Hudson as well as Reed. Barry should be able to make mincemeat of him for the lap. It goes LeMay trying to get back through, but Barry's on the inside of Guy. And Guy doesn't put up too much of a fight. He locked up into the last turn, and that was too easy for both Barry and LeMay to find a way through.
Yep, so Reed got by here. He's got McCutcheon now behind him, though, so that'll certainly make you pucker up a little bit.
Up the hill and down they come. And Gert van Polman has done rather well so far to remain in P3s.
Yeah.
He's not had a bad race, actually, has Polman, but he's got all the favourites still to come through. And Andrew Horswood, who's done a terrific job so far this evening to keep himself in the hunt. in the case of those failing. Mike Bousson has dropped down the order a little bit. He's in 10th place. He's now behind Ewan Bremer. Don't know what's happened to Bousson at the moment because he's had a tough time of it. Oh, he's now under threat from Jamie Bird. It's Jamie who's coming through.
Jamie
from
just
the back of the field.
Right as the camera clicked on him, he caught the edge of the wall with the back quarter panel of his car there, and clearly he backed off a little bit of Bousson, but because of that, you know, it slowed him down a little bit or something.
25 points for a win in race 3, unlike in race 1 and 2 when it's 20. But it's so I've got a long way to go in the season. There is a drop point score for this season in terms of the best results over the course of the season. It's not the individual races, it's the round. Each driver loses their 2 worst round scores over the course of the season. It's 8 out of 10. That's Matt Hudson who runs into Andrew Horswood at the chase.
Oh my goodness.
Disaster again for the Scotsman.
Wow. All right, it's going to take me a second here. That was a bunch happening all at one time there.
And Paul Crabb into the lead ahead of Luke Maxwell. Maxwell keeping up with him, although I think Crabb's gap has come down since the last we saw from him. Maxwell with a new fast up of the race in this one.
Get it here.
It was just... Well, that was Horswood taking his line, and Matt Hudson just came too far back, really, and just didn't slam on the brakes and slow down in time.
I want to go back and look at that one more time. That was, I don't know that. All right. So, yeah, who is it he hit?
He does check
Horswood.
It's Horswood that Hudson.
Horswood
Yeah, so
was
if
going
you just
slow there.
No, I think Horswood has taken his line. He was taking his line into the corner, and Hudson just came too far back. He was not. He could have a look at Hudson's view.
Let's look at it from. Hold on, let's look at it from Barry's view and see what he sees. All right, give me 1 second. Not the fastest. Here we go. I don't normally do 3 replays, but yeah, I don't know.
I still lay the blame on Matt Hudson if it was me, because all Horswood was doing was taking his line, and Matt Hudson just didn't quite read into it well enough. There's been another incident as well, Jim. Whilst we've been watching this, Damien Gee and Mike Bousson have had a coming together on the next lap. Yeah, well, Bird's been involved in it, so we need to see what has been going on involved in those. Josh Reed moves in front of Jan Polman for position, pulling way through ahead of the Hilton Racing driver. We're going to have a look to see what happened to Jamie Bird here. We're right on board with him. This is downhill through the S's, and I think we're going to see a coming together involving Bousson and Gee. So Bousson and Gee have come together. Bird just got caught up in that afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's 100% correct. This is probably not a good chopper one either. This course is tough. I like the chopper angle because you can see what's happening, but this course is tough with all the trees, but we might be all right here. No. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's right there. That's racing at Bathurst, you know. There's just nowhere to go when it happens in front of you on the mountain. That is very unfortunate for Jamie. He was having a good race. Luke Maxwell is all over Paul Crabb up here.
We've also lost Anthony Hilton. He's been in the wars as well. We're losing drivers left, right, and centre at the moment. But this is Paul Crabb and Luke Maxwell fighting for the lead. James Barry 4 seconds off these two. It won't be too long before you just saw James Barry sliding through the dipper before they get towards Forest Elbow. And Maxwell just couldn't quite take advantage of it. But all of this is helping James Barry close in on these two.
Yeah, he's Barry, let's see where he's at right there. Okay, he's still got a little ground to make up, though.
He's got plenty of time. He's got plenty of time to do it, as James Barry. Anthony Hilton is another driver out of the race as well. 5 drivers. I don't think Ben Underdown even took the start.
Was it Hilton and Guy that came together?
No, it was Hilton. No, it was Guy and Buson. They both came
okay.
together.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I couldn't see who the other car was there. Yeah, I mean, that's classic Mount Panorama right there. That's just what happens.
Well, there is Maxwell taking his time. No need to rush things, as we know. Hudson, who had to come in. I think he may have carried on, actually. I don't know if he actually came into the pits to get the repairs done, and whether he actually carried on with the state of his car, of which he has now. He's in 10th place behind Michael LeMay. Will we see Matt Hudson back in the fray for a win or a podium in the closing laps of this? We are expecting 13 laps this time around. There is Paul Crabb taking his line. Maxwell taking a tighter line through the cut-in. Through Griffin's Bend they come. And now the sequence of left-handers we've been talking about time and time again. You can just see Luke Maxwell just avoiding the walls there as they take the line through McFinery Park. And then it's the downhill section.
Yeah, this right here kills me every time. Just that part right there. Not as much this, you know. I actually really like this part. Yeah, just that little whip around that gravel pit, and I either lift, which if you lift, you kill your entire speed going through this whole section here, you know. It's really a tricky, to me it is anyway. You know, I guess everybody struggles at different, you know, parts of the track, but that's my struggle spot.
Well, here is Luke Maxwell. Does he go for it on Paul Crabb? He doesn't this time around.
He doesn't seem to be really aggressively going after him. You know, I think at this point he might be just kind of laying there, see if he's Paul make a mistake, you know. I'll tell you, right here, back here behind him is old Josh Reed is all over James Berry here.
He's had a spirited evening so far as Josh Reed. He's done better than I thought he would do.
He has.
And
he has some good runs.
Paul LeMay right behind these two. He's also had an eventful evening.
Yes.
Gert van Polman is running in 6th place now.
I think this is one of those situations where when it's all said and done, you're going to be surprised, you know, when you look at the overall results, points, you know, who came out of this better, and, you know, because there was a lot of really decent drivers that got in trouble, at least in one of these races, if not two, or maybe even three in some cases.
Josiah Douglas has had another moment because Jamie Bird is ahead of him. And we should probably expect that Josiah Douglas has been off somewhere.
Let's see. I think he has, actually.
Where has he done that then? I would say it's right about towards the end of the lap. Yeah. It's at the chase where he spun. He stayed out of the wall, but that handed the position over to Jamie Bird, which is little consolation.
You probably got more runoff area there than just about anywhere else on this track, you know. This track isn't exactly known for runoff area.
James Berry posted a new fast lap of the race last time around. He's now in 3rd place. There's no points for the fastest lap as far as we are aware.
No, I don't think so.
But of course, no. It's 25 points for the win in the 3rd race. Michael LeMay's had an off, and he's back in the pit lane. That's another driver out of this race.
Yep.
We'll stay with the battle for the lead for the time being.
Yeah, we'll
just in case we do see any change. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like Luke got all aggressive there for a second. I was thinking he was going to make a little move coming through here, but he didn't. He's probably going to try to tuck up behind him and make a move before they head into the mountain section. After you come down this straight here.
Out they come. There's Maxwell.
He didn't get the greatest run off that off the turn 1 there at all.
Well, sometimes even not the best of turns best of executions of the corner can still lead to the slipstream. But Maxwell is waiting back. He's not rushing things. He's waiting around until towards the end.
Yeah, let's go see what happened with Maxwell.
It's LeMay. This is over towards.
I meant LeMay. Right.
Yeah, this is over at Forest Elbow. He's gone into the wall.
Yeah, I got to get away
Always,
from this chopper cam here. It's failing me
he's had a
miserably.
whack. He's had a whack against the wall. He's hit the front right corner of his SR8 for his elbow, and that's effectively race done for LeMay for the evening.
It's failing me miserably here. All right, one more try. I'm sorry, guys. Let's keep wanting to jump back to that camera for some reason.
So he
Oh,
locks
yeah,
up.
you just cooked it in there, yeah. Well, that's,
Yeah,
I mean, all of these incidents you see here are so just Mount Panorama. It's just, that's what happens. Downhill section. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a really, really intense battle we are seeing now with Paul Crabb and Luke Maxwell. Almost like bump drafting towards the chase, almost NASCAR
That's the
style.
same thing he did right through here last time, which was what made me jump back to him, because it was virtually no gap, And I don't know if he's doing that. Obviously, he's doing it to slipstream, but I wonder if it's an easy place to make an error, especially if you're kind of mirror driving. I wonder if he's just trying to create an error there. Because the problem is, if you do that in the mountain and the guy makes an error, you're liable to hit him. You're probably going to hit him, And so it takes you out too. But if you do it there, you got a chance to get by. All he's got to do is make a little wrong wiggle, catch a curb, something like that.
He's still not going for it this time around. Andrew Horse was the only driver to post a personal best lap of the race last time around. He's in 8th place ahead of John Hutchison. It's a shame for Horsewood he got tagged by Hutchison because he drove a beautiful race up until that point.
I'll tell you what,
that was no...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, well, this is a battle for... Okay. Barry, Reed and Polomay are in the fight for 3rd place, and I'll let you take over, Jim.
No, it's fine. I have a tendency to do that, especially since you and I haven't worked together. I don't know when, when you're going to stop, so I sometimes jump in there too quick. I'm working on that. Yeah, these three here, though, man, what a spirited battle they've had now for a few laps. All three of them right here on top of each other. And, again, I go back to what you said a few laps ago. Josh Reed has really impressed me here. He's running right up in here with the likes of Barry and Paul LeMay, and he has all night. And I haven't been around for a couple seasons, but I don't know a lot about Josh Reed. But this guy's impressive.
He is, and this is better than what we've seen from him in the past. In my races that I've commentated on, Josh Reed, and this is a golden opportunity for him to end the evening with a podium finish, but no change at the front and no change for 3rd place.
That's a big thoroughbred horse you got to pass to get that podium finish, though. Yeah, James Barry's a tough one to get around for sure.
Well, Reed's just posted a new fast lap of the race now, Jim, and he's absolutely come into his stride here.
Wow.
But he's not attempting to get past James Barry. He knows that James Barry's going after Maxwell and Crabb, so if he could just stay within the toe of Barry, he can be dragged along with him.
Well, that's smart. I mean, and if LeMay could get up there and they can make it a 3-car train to help run that front group down, because they're almost 3 seconds behind that front group, and we've got 7 minutes left. Not a lot of time. It's crazy how you go from there's plenty of time to time's running out, and it happens fast.
Time is running out. We've got about 6 minutes to go. Next time around, they'll have 3 laps left. It'll be a 13-lap race for this. Says feature on there. It's race 3. This is where the bigger points get given out. 25 points for a win, and it's 20 for second, 19 for third, and it's 1 point difference for each position downwards. Josiah Douglas is running in 12th place, on course for what will be, if I get my maths correct, 10 championship points for him. But this is the battle we want to be focusing on.
Just came back up here to see if they were doing anything.
Nope. He's too far back anyways, Maxwell. He won't go for it this time around.
He's just laying in there. He's clearly setting it up to do it in the last couple of laps if he's going to make a move. That's smart. I see these two have started to... I must be... Wait a minute. Oh.
Reed has dropped back from LeMay.
Yeah,
LeMay's just
what
overtaken Reed for fourth place. Yeah, well, Reed has made a mistake at the chase. That's why.
Yeah, I saw how close they were, and so I was going to come back and look at it, and all of a sudden there was no battle. What did we miss here?
He's probably had a spin, has Reed, given all the tyre smoke in the background when he came out of the chase. He's,
oh, no! He had a bad blink.
That's it. That's earlier on. That won't have anything to do with what I'm discussing. That was that's on the mountain straight before they went through the right-hander. It's over at the chase where Josh Reed had that spin. We're still on the same replay as they come out of the cut-in. Yeah, it's. I'm not sure. Is this a replay of? Is this still a replay of these live images? Because I'm starting to feel that.
No, it's a replay. It was supposed to be LeMay passing him, but it hasn't happened yet.
It's over at the chase, Jim. It's further on round here where LeMay got in front of him. So it's not at this point. It's further on in the lap.
Well, unfortunately, it does not give me an option to get there. So let's see. I'm going to do something that James absolutely hates.
So we're just fast forwarding. This is a replay, so we do apologies.
Yeah.
As we've come away from the live images. This is over at the chase, what I was alluding to. And he gets out of chase, the second part of the chase where he spins rounds. Oh no, maybe not on this lap. I think we're looking at the wrong lap, actually, where Reed makes his mistake.
I don't know. Let's see what okay, here we go.
This is the mistake, yeah. So he just the rear just stepped out and he couldn't stop it.
I apologize for that. That was very strange. Sometimes the software gets a little glitchy. That was weird. But anyway, we're back to live action here now, and Josh Reed has slid back to 5th.
And we've seen that Luke Maxwell's taken the lead from Paul Crabb. Jim, he's now into the lead. He's probably done that over at the chase. Luke Maxwell into the lead of the final race of the night here at Mount Panorama in Bathurst. 25 championship points going in the way of the Englishman. And Paul Crabb, well, has he got anything left to respond? But this is going to be... Well, it's because Crabb made the mistake and Maxwell saw the door and went through.
Well, that's what we kept talking about, that he was like pushing him really hard right through there, trying to get him to make a mistake, and eventually it happened. He got, that's the easy way to make a pass. Let them make a mistake. Put your car in near as much risk. Well, I think at this point, we'll see if Paul Crabb... Crabb's been fast. Now, see if he's got anything for him.
Barry's not closing down these two as quickly as I thought he would do, because he's 1.8 seconds off Crabb.
Yeah, they seem to have kind of settled in and spread out, and it's there doesn't really seem to be anybody flying or making a big move or anything. This is kind of seems like that most of them have settled into their spots. Although Barry he's knocking a little bit off of it. I don't know if he's got enough time with what we're going to get. Just this one. We're going to get just one more, right? That's it?
Yeah, it'll be one more lap. It'll be one more lap for these two. Crabb has still got an opportunity to close back in, but you just see James Barry coming into the picture. He's hoping that these two start fighting again, and then he's got a chance of at least coming away with a race win.
Yeah, he's closing it up, but I just don't, he's got a little over a second and a quarter to make up, and that's hard to do on these two guys, especially when they're drafting like they are.
Well, he's just posted a new fast lap of the races, James Barry. He's coming into his zone a little bit now. Yeah, and we're seeing Crabb now. Now, Crabb has got to play this one carefully, because if he starts fighting with Maxwell here, Barry will be on the tail of these by the time they get to Forest Elbow.
I will tell you what, that's an impressive fastest lap, too, because he's not really in the draft. And most of these fast laps through the race were set by the guy, who was drafting. And he did that without the benefit of the draft.
Well, here is Luke Maxwell. Is he going to pick up a win here? And do you know something? Because of all the events that have been going on, we've got the fact that 3 races. I've actually lost track of who's won what, because we've seen some brilliant races here this evening. It's incredible. But Paul Crabb is on the tail, hoping he can come away with his first win of the night. I know that he's not won a race this evening. James Barry has also not won a race this evening either. And as they head down the hill once more, and we're in for a brilliant finale to this particular race. Here are the 25 points going in the way of Luke Maxwell, or is it Paul Crabb that he's going to be able to snatch it? James Barry's not close enough, is he?
No, short of a mistake, I don't think Crabb is going to get Maxwell from that distance either.
Even with the slipstream, it's not effective enough. It's not. No. Yeah, and it looks like Luke Maxwell is most certainly going to be holding on here, provided he doesn't make any daft errors in the remaining corners of this one. It's just got 3 corners to get through. There is 1. There is 2. The last one being Murray's. Luke Maxwell has held his nerve, and is going to take the first win. Well, the final win of the night. Luke Maxwell wins in Mount Panorama by less than a second ahead of Paul Crabb. James Barry running up the podium and setting the fast lap of the race. Although maybe not the fast lap of the race on the last hole, but it was a fast lap anyway. Paul LeMay 4th, and it will be Josh Reed recovering to 5th place ahead of Ewan Bremer. And it's Andrew Horswood, Gert Jan Polman, John Hutchison, Jamie Bird, Stephen Millis, and Josiah Douglas rounding out the finishes. What an evening of action.
Yeah, great action. I mean, typical Mount Panorama. There you go, right there. That says it all. kind of sums it up in a nutshell right there. As James would say, McCutcheon's got cold feet from the front end being knocked off the car. I think, that's very much a Mount Panorama race. Great action, crazy crashes that you don't expect. Good stuff. I love it. Great start to this season for sure.
Great start to the season. Well done to Luke Maxwell and all those that have come away with positive results this evening. We're waiting for Douglas to make his way over the line, and we can run down the race result for the final one of tonight here. There is Douglas going over the line. And now we can run down on the final classification.
There we go.
It is Luke Maxwell who takes victory. Then it's Paul Crabb in second place, 0.3 of a second behind. And it's James Barry in third position. Paul LeMay 4th. Josh Reed 5th ahead of Ewan Bremer in 6th position.
Why is it not
and we're just waiting for the graphics to come up. Just wait for Jim to sort that out. There we go. Andrew Horswood 7th. Then it's Gert-Jan Polman in 8th. John Hudson 9th. Jamie Bird 10th. And it's Stephen Millis 11th. And Josiah Douglas in P12. The non-finishers: Michael LeMay, Anthony Hilton, Damien Gee, Mike Bousson, Nick Marshall, and Ben Underdown.
We had a few non-finishers in that last race for sure.
Well, a third of those that started didn't actually finish.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was a lot of fun though. I really enjoyed that myself. Let's see here.
So we should be able to get some. Yeah, I'll do the interviews, okay, so I'll be the one asking the questions.
Can you pull them in, or do you know how to do that, or?
I don't. So if you could pull them in, Jim, that'd be very helpful of you.
I just got.
We've got someone waiting. We've got someone waiting in the interview room, so we can bring Paul Crabb into the booth, and we can talk to him now after tonight's action. Paul Crabb, second place finish in that last race, but just take us through the evening for you. How was that for you, Paul? Because that was a breathtaking night of action, wasn't it?
Oh, geez, it's always stressful around here. Yeah, one of the best tracks in the service. Had a bit of a strange one in the first race. Had a bit of a dodgy rejoin from James, which took us both out. Unfortunately, there was nothing intentional from his part. It's just unfortunate. But the last lap or the last race, managed to get up to the front quite quickly, and then Luke crept up in me, and it was clear that he wanted to not fight, but just try and make a gap. So we knew James would probably try and creep up on us. So we kind of didn't fight, but then I put my wheel in the grass on the last corner, and Luke went past. And so I was dead happy with second.
I think your pace has surprised me, actually, because I predicted you to be one of the sort of dark horse or underdogs, so to speak, because I thought it would be like Luke Maxwell, John Hudson, or James Barry to sort of be the favourites. But you've actually performed better than I thought you would do. So hats off to you for that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes some nights I go quite well, other nights I don't. So I'm a bit hit and miss. But yeah, I just turn up for the racing because it's so much fun. Yeah.
How have you found Mount Panorama then? Because it has caught a lot of drivers out, whether it be over at the Forest Elbow, because we have seen a number of spins there. We've seen, you mentioned the one with you and James Barry in the first race at the Chase. It has taken its toll. Is that a sign of rustiness, or is that just just typical Bathurst?
That's just typical Bathurst. Yeah, I mean, I know that I've done a zillion laps around here, both in the endurance races and in the radical. But so yeah, I generally don't spin out here unless I do something really dumb. Yeah, but there's only a couple of places to overtake, and even then it's a little bit marginal because you're generally alongside. You can't get clear ahead. Coming up into the Chase or down into the going up the mountain either. But yeah, it's how it is. It makes for great racing.
Watkins Glen next then on the boot configuration. How are you feeling for that? Have you done any form of practice on that? What are your feelings heading into the second round of the championship?
I never really go that well at Watkins Glen. To be honest, I get a bit bored of Watkins Glen after a while. I don't know what it is. I think it's they going through the bus stop is always a bit hit and miss, literally. If you try and do a pass through there, and it's hard in your mouth time. But yeah, so it's okay. It's definitely not my favorite track, but I'm happy to go back there. Yeah.
Any of the other circuits you fancy that you've seen on the schedule?
Oh,
the Monza Historic one. The Monza Historic one is going to be a cracker, I bet.
Yes, it's just going to be a draft fest, but it'll be a blast. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. Most of the tracks look good. I'm interested in the Lebanon track, which I think I've been on before, but it looks interesting. So I can't remember if I've done it. So that'll be good. Yeah.
Anyone you want to shout out to, Paul, before we let you go?
To Mr. McHutchinson for driving it all forward at the moment. He's done a great job in keeping the sport going. So yeah, definitely hats off to him. And he's a bit too quick as well. But yeah, John, he does well.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Paul, for your time to speak to us after tonight's action, and we look forward to you competing in Watkins Glen next week.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. If we can pull John Hutchison next in, please, Jim, then we can have a word with him, because it's been quite an eventful evening for him with all of the drama we have seen tonight involving him. John, first round of the season, and in the defence of your title, I think it's safe to say it's been an eventful evening for you over the course of those three races.
Yeah, that's one way of saying it. Yep. 3 races there, 3 different results, and 3 different races, I guess.
So,
and
John,
I'm
sorry. I just wanted to say this because I wasn't sure if you were, and I want to. John, I covered this series. This is Jim Cunningham. I covered this series a couple seasons ago. It was withering away to nothing. You know, we were getting 6, 8 car fields, stuff like that. And when you took over, I've witnessed from the outside, just watching the effort and work that you put in to bring the series back, recruiting guys, getting them in, having hosted practice sessions and all the things that you do. I just wanted to tell you, thank you. This is a great series with a great bunch of drivers in it, and you've done a hell of a job reviving this series and keeping it going, and I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thanks very much, Jim. You're right about one thing. We do have a great bunch of drivers here. There's always incidents. There always will be. It's racing. We race hard, but we race fair. And the guys are mature enough to accept incidents and move on to the next race. And I've tried to implement the heat racing to give guys more of a chance to win that don't have a chance, if you know what I mean. Because it mixes up the start grid. Anything can happen. Anyone could run away from the start. So I'm trying to encourage all level of drivers in. And of course, after 2 weeks, we'll introduce the Pro and Am divisions as well to give everyone a chance to win something.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that. I've honestly wanted to tell you that for the past couple of seasons as I watched you do it, from the outside. I just wanted to say that. But yeah, I'll let Tom get back to his regular interview. I just wanted to take a second to do that.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks very much.
No, thank you very much, Jim, for interrupting that. I perfectly agree with you as well. With what Jim said, it's fantastic that you've managed to keep this going, John, with a lot more competitors in there compared to, let's say, last season. Because I think last season the amount of runners we had was rather limited. But you've done a sensational job in getting this up and running, and with all the circuits we've got lined up. And I like this concept of having a pro class and an AM class, because we know there's a bit of a difference in terms of pace between some drivers over others, and the fact that you've got an AM division as well as the pro, I think has helped convince some drivers to join.
Yeah, but they'll always have drivers round about them with their own quality to race against, and if they're surprised at the end of it, it'll encourage them to race, the full season instead of half the season and give up because they can't win. So that's the idea anyway. We'll see how it goes.
Any circuits on this season's calendar you're most looking forward to?
Not Kill, of course. It's my local track.
I thought you would say that one.
Yeah, we had a blast the last time there. It's a short circuit, but it's non-stop, and it'll be a good workout over 3 heats.
Excellent. John, anyone you want to shout out to before we go?
Just a shout out to all the new guys that's joined the league, and I hope you all stay for the duration of the season. As you can see, the racing is really, really good. That second race was superb.
I think there was one point where it was like 3 seconds involving the top 8. I think by about 17 minutes into one of the races, I think it might have been the second race, Jim, that we were watching. It was absolutely unbelievable.
It actually got down to like 2.2 seconds, and it was 8 cars. The front 8.
That'll be the same at Watkins Glen next week, the big draft track. So bring it on.
Bring it on, indeed. John, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you racing around Watkins Glen in 7 days' time. Let's bring our last... Sorry, thank you very much, John. Let's bring our final driver into the booth, Jim. That is the last winner of tonight, Luke Maxwell. Race 3 victory. There was a mistake from Paul Crabbe, who just spoke to not too long ago on the exit of the last corner of Murray's. But you've come away with a race win. Very, very well done.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, that was a very enjoyable evening and quite good overall. Really love racing there tonight, and yeah, it's great to have some of the other guys back and some new guys in the league. Makes it really competitive, and that's what we want, right? We want that close, tight racing. There's going to be a few incidents and accidents along the way, but thoroughly enjoyable.
How have you compared the quality of the racing this time around to maybe like last season? I know we've only done one round this time around, but has the competitiveness, would you say, improved here compared to most of the races of last season?
I don't know. Some of the tracks last season I didn't really click with, I think, or didn't quite enjoy as much. But I think Bathurst, and I think the new format helps. The 3 races with slightly shorter race times, because if you do make a mistake and you mess up, then you've got an opportunity in the next race. So I think the format will work well, and the competitiveness will be good. So looking forward to a cracking season, to be honest.
Yep, and more points being dished out as well, particularly 25 points for the feature race win, which you had achieved. It was an eventful evening. I was even saying to Jim, because of all the incidents that have been going on tonight, with drivers just spinning off all over the place, not intentionally, of course, but with the competitive nature of the racing that we saw, we kind of lost track of what happened in races 1 and 2, because it was just like battles galore, towards the top end of the field, let's say. Jim and I mentioned the fact that at one point it was like 2.2 seconds separating the top 8 drivers by around about 20 minutes into, I think it was the last race or the race before that or whatever. But the racing we saw was simply sensational.
Yeah, I think it was tight. I think I had a coming together with James in the first race, and then obviously that impacted Paul as well. So, but I think it was a bit of a racing incident, to be honest. I think it's always difficult round that corner. trying to get either defend or attack, to be honest. So so cracking, and then I think I bumped Stefan in the last race, but that was just one of those things. I think he got on the brakes quite early, and kind of we came together at the corner. So that was it was great fun though, and a great league. So really looking forward to how the season pans out, and I think it's Watkins Glen, isn't it, next week? So hopefully that'll be good.
Yep, I was going to ask you, what are you feeling for Watkins Glen? Is it going to be a similar kind of showing from you there? Is it your strength? Is it your weakness? What is it for you?
I used to be a bit slow there, but I think I'm all right these days. The bus stop scares me. I think that's going to be, there's, if you get hit in the middle of that curb, you go round. So, if you're too wide up there, which no doubt we will be at times with the draft, it's going to be, it's going to be a bit of a lottery, I think, in that one. But we'll see how we go. I
couldn't agree more. Anyone you want to shout out to, Luke, before we let you go?
Give a shout out to John. I think getting the league, participation up, and he's put some effort into that. So and he had a bit of bad luck tonight. So give a shout out to John.
Luke, thank you very much. Enjoy your victory tonight, and we'll see you again for Watkins Glen next week.
Yes, guys, all the best.
Thank you very much, Luke. Jim, what an evening of action, and thank you to the drivers that turned up tonight and put on a good show. But also hats off to John Hutchison for simply putting this all together and doing what he did to bring this level of field together. And without him, this wouldn't have happened.
No, I 100% agree. Like I said, this league was right on the verge of just kind of fading away, and he stepped in and did a fantastic job. I mean, he did all the things, and he's, he takes people's opinions into account and stuff like that. And it's nothing against, I guess James was running the league, but, James is so busy covering all these races. JP Broadcasting now is some weeks has got, 20 plus events in a week. He just doesn't have time to do the stuff that it takes to keep one of these leagues active like that. And letting McCutcheon take over and John willing to take over has been perfect. And you got all the, if you go to, there's only one or two guys that I see missing here from the name list of the best of the best when it comes to radical racing on iRacing. There's just a couple of guys, and they may I can't English now. They may end up showing up later in the season. Maybe they just couldn't make this race or something. Like George Gonzaga was the first one that popped into my mind, and he was a regular in this series, so it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him come back. But yeah, I mean, this is as good as it gets when it comes to radical racing, and the format's fun.
The format is most certainly fun with the different point systems, the reverse grids as well. We're in for a brilliant campaign. I most certainly can see it. And hopefully we do see George Gonzaga back on the grid next week, and he can get his season up and running. A reminder that the pros and the AMs will be determined after the Watkins Glen round, and then we'll know who is in what. Jim, thank you so much for the broadcasting and doing your commentary duties alongside me. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in. Do make sure you like and subscribe to the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel, and you keep right up to date with all the action that JP Broadcasting is streaming. And thank you to the drivers for putting on the show tonight, and particularly John Hutchison for putting this all together and getting the season up and running. If Mount Panorama is anything to go by, we are going to be in for a spellbinding championship. We'll do it again in 7 days' time at Watkins Glen. I'm Tom Cairns, he's Jim Cunningham, and we'll speak to you again soon when the Radical SR8 Championship returns.